beautiful people. It's Ezri here and welcome back to Dax's Desk, a place where we can come to connect and communicate about all things organization, planning, productivity, and of course, study. So in this video, I thought I would share with you something you may not know about me, which is that I have a part-time job doing tutoring. And now I'm just doing VCE students, so students in year 12, doing health and human development. I do a couple hours a week, and I thought I would share with you guys some of the tips and advice that I've received from the internet, YouTubers, and people who have tutored before. So one of the best pieces of advice isn't really materialistic. It's more mindset. So my lovely boyfriend was also a tutor in his younger years, and what he told me was, don't worry about feeling guilty if your students don't do as well as you believed they would. When I got back SACs that my students had done, and they were a bit disheartened, but I found myself being more disheartened and embarrassed that I hadn't helped them as much as I thought I was. So he basically said to me, I don't have to feel guilty about my students' grades. In the end of the day, it's their grades, their schooling, and for me, I only see them once every 1 to 2 weeks. So I'm not their teacher. I'm just someone who's there to help them for an hour every now and again, so I can't really do that much for them. Of course, as a tutor, you do need to have that sense of responsibility for your students, but I felt like I was letting that feeling of, oh my goodness, it's all on me. If I don't help them succeed, they're gonna fire me, they're gonna put bad reviews, something like that. And I think that kind of got in the way of what really a tutor is supposed to do, which is to help them the best they can. If the student doesn't want to complete their homework or do the study that you set them to do, it's not your fault. It's definitely not your responsibility. So my more physical tips would be to print out or get your hands on a lot of practice exams and practice questions, because the teacher will give them some, but I think having access to a lot of resources, especially in year 12, university not so much, is really handy for students. And the teacher, the school, they can't print out masses of exams for every single student. That would just be cutting down so many trees. But if you just got 1 or 2 students, I think it's really good to give them a little taste of different types of exam papers. Of course, the official VCE ones are the best to do, but when they're practicing, when they're starting to get a hang of the topic, I think it's really good to use their building knowledge on actual practice exam questions, rather than having to go to a textbook and do sort of simpler questions, I would say. Speaking of questions, the first thing I would do when having students is to get to know them first, obviously by speaking to them and gauging where they are in class, but also just giving them a couple of practice questions so you can see how they answer them, especially in classes that require handwritten answers and they're very wordy, especially English, health, some of the sciences maybe. Maths, you'll get to look at how they approach a question and whether they highlight, underline, or how they read a question. All of those things you can gauge by looking at their first couple of responses. And for me, it was quite easy to figure out, oh, so this student has a problem with answering all the parts of the question because they have to pull it apart. They're only answering 3 out of 4 of the commands that the question is asking them, for example. Or this student is really good with their knowledge, but they have a hard time quoting from examples or data sheets. So I think my take-home message would be do your best with what they desire. So what I mean by that is, it is not up to you to guarantee your students higher scores, but at the same time, just do your best by giving them a little bit of something that a teacher can't give them, because a teacher's got, you know, on average 24 more students. So I hope that video was helpful for you fellow tutors out there, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!